Power doesn't just create enemies, it exposes intentions. By the 6th night after the monarch's death, Jaden understood something his father never said out loud. The more control you gain, the less truth people offer you. Every smile becomes a strategy, every silence a warning. The city hadn't gone quiet, it had gone watchful. Mama Cass sat in her compound long before sunrise, listening to reports she already expected. Her supply cuts had worked. The streets were tightening. Hunger was turning loyalty into desperation. But what intrigued her wasn't Steele. It was Jaden. The boy wasn't reacting emotionally. He wasn't loud, he wasn't reckless. He was doing something far more dangerous, adapting. Mama Cass smiled thinly. Kings she could fight. Strategists she had to break early. She gave a simple instruction. Bring me the mother. Inspector Lara arrived at the Ojukwu mansion that same morning wearing a polite smile and carrying a warrant wrapped in courtesy. Amma welcomed her in without resistance as if she had been expecting the visit. Lara didn't waste time. She asked about offshore accounts, about shell companies, about meetings the monarch had attended weeks before his death. Amma answered calmly, carefully. Almost too carefully, then Lara leaned in. You raised a son who's becoming very efficient, she said. That usually means someone is guiding him. Amma met her gaze. And you think that someone is me? Lara didn't answer. She didn't need to. Jaden learned about the visit from Steele, not from his mother. That bothered him. Steele tried to sound casual, but his words carried weight. The police were circling. Mama Cass was squeezing territory, and the crew was watching Jaden more closely than ever, not for weakness, for mistakes. Jaden nodded, absorbing everything. But his mind wasn't on Lara or Cass. It was on his mother, because for the first time he wondered whether Amma had been shaping him, or steering him. That night, Mama Cass struck close. Amma's driver was intercepted on a quiet road. The message was subtle but unmistakable. No shots fired, no blood spilled. Just a note left on the seat. We can reach you whenever we choose. Amma didn't panic when she saw it, she smiled. And that frightened Jaden more than fear ever could. Steele, meanwhile, stood alone in a dim bar across town, staring at his drink long after the ice had melted. A shadow slid into the seat beside him. A man he hadn't seen in years. One of the monarch's former associates. Thought to be gone, forgotten. The man spoke softly. You backed the wrong horse, he said. And you know it. Steele didn't respond. You don't want to die protecting a crown that was never meant for you. Steele clenched his jaw. And you don't want to die standing in the wrong room, he replied. The man smiled. We'll see. When Steele left the bar, the city felt different, like it was waiting for him to choose. Back at the mansion, Jaden finally confronted Amma. He asked her what she knew about his father's last meeting. Who arranged it, who insisted he go alone. Amma hesitated, just for a moment. That moment told Jaden everything. She admitted the truth slowly, like removing a blade from a wound. The monarch hadn't been betrayed by an enemy. He'd been betrayed by convenience. Someone close had made a decision that seemed harmless at the time. A meeting, a shortcut, a favor, and that decision had cost him his life. Jaden didn't ask for the name, not yet. Inspector Lara pieced it together the same night. Financial trails, phone records, old surveillance patterns that only made sense looking backward. He wasn't sloppy, he was exposed, and whoever did it is still breathing. Mama Cass, she's done playing. We hit back tonight, we have to. No retaliation, no movement, no emotion. Silence didn't mean surrender. It meant planning. You're closer to the truth than you think. But you're trusting the wrong shadow. Not anymore. Steele watched the city breathe, and realized something he hadn't let himself admit. Jaden wasn't becoming his father. He was becoming something else entirely. Something Steele might not survive. The episode ended the same way it began, with silence. But this time it wasn't uncertainty, it was decision. Because by morning, Jaden would stop reacting and start hunting. By morning, the city felt different. Not louder, not quieter, just tighter. Jaden woke up knowing something had shifted. The messages, the fires, the silences, they weren't warnings anymore. They were invitations, daring him to step fully into the war his father had tried to shield him from. Inspector Lara made the first move. Before noon, one of the monarch's former accountants was picked up quietly. No sirens, no spectacle, just a car door closing and a life changing forever. The man didn't last long. Fear loosened his tongue faster than threats ever could. He confirmed what Lara already suspected. The Monarch's final meeting wasn't random. It was arranged through a familiar channel. A man who had access. A man who had reason. Lara wrote the name down. She didn't arrest him, not yet. Across the city, Mama Cass abandoned patience. She ordered a face-to-face, not with Steele. With Jayden a neutral location. Public enough to avoid chaos. Private enough to send a message. When the invitation reached him, the crew panicked. Steele warned him it was a trap. Amma warned him it was disrespect. Jayden went anyway, because power doesn't hide forever. The meeting was brief. Mama Cass studied him the way hunters study terrain. She told him his father had underestimated loyalty. That empires didn't fall from bullet, they fell from trust. She offered him peace territory for silence, safety for distance. Jayden listened, then declined. Because peace offered too early is just surrender wearing perfume. Mama Cass smiled, not offended, interested. That night, Steele realized he was no longer ahead of the story. The crew didn't come to him first anymore. They came to Jayden for decisions, for approval, for direction. Steele felt himself becoming a shadow in a kingdom he helped build. And shadows, he knew, don't survive long.
Inspector Lara closed her office door and made the call she'd been avoiding. She summoned Steele not as a suspect, as leverage. Steele arrived confident, but the room stripped that confidence away piece by piece. Lara didn't accuse him. She didn't threaten him. She simply placed photos on the table, timelines, phone records, meetings that lined up too perfectly with the Monarch's final night. She told him the truth. Someone he trusted arranged that meeting, someone who still sat close to the crown. Steele didn't speak, but his silence gave him away. Jayden learned the same truth hours later, from a different source. A message, a name, confirmed by evidence he couldn't ignore anymore. The betrayal wasn't Mama Cass. It wasn't the police. It wasn't even an enemy. It was someone who believed they were protecting the empire by controlling it. Someone who thought the monarch had become weak. Jayden didn't rage. He didn't cry. He thanked the messenger and deleted the thread, because now the war had a face. Mama Cass watched the city burn softly that night, not in flames, but in decisions. She understood something crucial before anyone else did. Jayden wasn't reacting to pressure, he was absorbing it. And men like that don't explode. They calculate. Steele stood alone in his car, engine running, hands gripping the wheel, knowing the truth had finally caught up to him. Whether Jayden knew or not didn't matter anymore. The crown was moving, and it wasn't moving toward him. The episode ends with Jayden standing where his father once stood, city lights stretching endlessly before him. He finally says the name out loud. Not with anger, with certainty. Because once you know who killed the king, you don't ask questions anymore. You plan endings.